Sounds good.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of College Hockey Talk. On today's podcast, I'm joined by a very special guest, junior from the Boston University women's hockey team, Julia Nearis, joins the show today. Welcome to the podcast, Julia. Thank you so much for coming on, and how's everything going?
Everything's been pretty good. We just came back from Pittsburgh, and that was definitely a long weekend, long trip, and obviously getting back at 3 a.m. wasn't great, but got some sleep in, and today's a new day.
That's good. That's good to hear. And I was telling you this before we started recording, but you're the most requested guest from just players I've had on to come on the podcast. So I didn't know if you had anything to say about that. I thought that was a pretty cool fact.
Yeah, I didn't. I've heard that I've been mentioned a couple times. I didn't think I'd be asked to come on to it, so I'm excited to answer some questions and hopefully give the people what they want to hear.
Awesome. Well, one thing I want to ask you about first is you recently just played in the Battle of Pittsburgh, a non-conference holiday tournament. And unfortunately, it did not really go well for your team as you lost both games. So what did you kind of take away from that holiday tournament, just those non-conference games you played, and how are you going to use it heading into a big weekend against Boston College?
Yeah, no, it was definitely pretty cool just to get away from our usual schedule. So playing out of conference teams was definitely something we obviously want practice and for whatever happens in the future, playoffs. But yeah, it wasn't the best outcome obviously, but the first game was definitely tight with Syracuse. I thought we controlled a lot, especially in overtime. I thought they had a pretty good goalie. And obviously you don't like to see it end in a shootout, but they sometimes have to come to terms with that. And Penn State, I played them my freshman year, and they're always strong girls, but they were able to capitalize, I think, and we were still struggling a bit to score. Once I think we're a team that if we score first, we're in control of the game. So that was definitely kind of one of the defaults of the entire tournament. But definitely a learning curve. Hopefully, we'll build from that.
Yeah, especially against Penn State, because I feel like they have a kind of a brand new team since the last time you played them, like a lot of freshmen and sophomores on that team.
Yeah, and it's fine. So I went to me and Coach Campersall. He's on the head coach for Penn State. He's actually from Beverly, so I've spoken to him a couple times, and it was he's a great coach, and I think they clearly showed it, when we played them.
Now, how nice has it been to play non-conference games this season, because your team didn't get the chance to do that last year? And do you think there's any benefit of playing a non-conference in playing non-conference games? Like, what's the benefit, I guess, especially since it doesn't matter regarding the hockey standings?
Right. Oh no, of course. It's definitely, like I said a little earlier, like once playoffs come around, and we just kind of get a sense and idea of like different styles of play. I think each league is a bit different, and hockey is as much challenging as it can be. There's definitely other leagues that have great teams, and you definitely want that exposure with everybody so you can build up that towards the end of the season.
Now, how would you evaluate your team's performance as of now, and what are some things you think your team needs to work on heading into the second half of the season?
Well, we've had some great games. We've also had some games where I don't think we prepared pretty well for. There's I think sometimes we lack a little bit consistency, but I know for a fact that our effort can be a little bit better. But I know once we take care of that, I think we're a very good team. And going forward, as long as we be consistent, we're all on the same page. We're gonna have some great success.
And what are your goals and expectations, I guess, for the second half of the season? Is it hockey's championship or bust, or is there any kind of other goals you want your team to achieve or that you want to achieve as well?
Well, definitely, you want to take it game by game, but I think for long term, I definitely, after losing in double overtime my freshman year to Northeastern in the Beanpot, that's something I definitely want to come back and win that, because the year before that the BU won, and that was some of the seniors that were on that team. They talk about it a lot and how fun it was to bring that home. So I'm looking forward to that one for sure.
I'll just talk about what it's like playing in Hockey East, because the competition every single night is pretty cool for me to watch just because there's so many strong teams in that conference, and it just seems like a fun competitive conference to be a part of.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. As a kid who grew up in Massachusetts, I was definitely accustomed to all the Hockey East games, especially BC and BU. Um, I think that you can't really take a game off in hockeys. I still think there's like teams that maybe weren't as good in the past have definitely become a lot stronger. So it's kind of what you want in a league. So it's been a lot of fun. Always having to put your best foot forward for each game.
Yeah, and I kind of want to ask you about the Beanpot since you mentioned it before. But how excited are you to get back and play in the Beanpot this year, especially since you didn't get to do that last season? And what have you told, I guess, the younger players about the Beanpot that have never played in it before? Because almost half your team hasn't had that experience yet.
I know it's crazy that you say that. It's a good number of girls who actually haven't experienced that, but um, it was definitely a fun time having it. My first time at the Beanpot to be in Walter Brown and to have a ton of people come was pretty cool. Crazy experience. I was on a line with like Jesse Comfer and Sammy Davis, and so as a young kid, I was very nervous, but it was quite the experience. I'm excited for it, and the girls that haven't. It's so crazy to think about because even though I've been with the sophomores now for like a year, they still haven't really done a full season, let alone have experience of being pot. So I've basically told we talk about it a lot. Just how it's a great tournament. Obviously, you want to win it, you get bragging rights. So yeah, just it's definitely a time where you can prepare for playoffs and as a practice. So
And win a trophy in the middle of the season, which for me
yeah,
personally, I'm from Massachusetts like you are. So like the Beanpot means a lot to me because it's so much fun to watch. And it's when you think about February in Boston, it's like one of those days you look forward to. And it's kind of cool to have that experience. But I feel like for a lot of your younger players on your team who aren't from Massachusetts, I feel like sometimes they might not understand how important the Beanpot actually is.
yeah, I'd agree to that. Just because there's actually some people, like you said, that aren't from Mass that are still think it's cool, but as a Mass girl, I've seen it from the boys side, the girls side, all around. It's a tournament where I've been to the Guardian couple once for a bean pot, and that was really fun for the boys. Went to the girls, and it's always a great atmosphere and great teams playing. So it's always a great time.
Now, I kind of want to transition back to talking about this year for a little bit. So, you've been on a line with Catherine Fulham and Christina Vogt for most of the season, and you guys have had a lot of success in chemistry, I've noticed. So, my question is, what has been the key to your guys' great chemistry, and what's the communication like between you guys throughout a game? Just because it seems like every night your team's clicking, especially with those two players, just because with Christina, she's a freshman, so there might have been some kind of transition period being on your line, but it seems like there wasn't really that transition period for her.
Yeah, no, honestly, it was pretty easy. Like the first or pretty quick, the chemistry earlier on. Like we were the first line to I think click this year, in the beginning, and so it kind of stuck a little bit. I know they're a bit fast, so as a bigger girl like myself, it's good to try and always keep up with them, and it's a good balanced line. I think you have hands, you got speed. Um, I know food does a good job with face-offs, and we have to continue that with that. But I didn't play with them over the Pittsburgh, but I'm not sure if I'll return or anything like that with them. But so far, the first half of the year, we did create a lot of goals and chances. So who knows what the future will entail, but um, same thing with Vogt. She's a sharpshooter. She has a great shot, I think. Good hands, and I think she passes well and is able to find me. It's what I look for in like a great line mates. Is as long as we can make great plays and capitalize. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, and what have you noticed with that line versus other lines you've been a part of in your time with BU so far?
Um, I think just a little bit more scoring chances, I'd say. It's very hard to find chemistry, I think, throughout a line, let alone throughout a whole year, try to find people to play with. So definitely scoring chances for sure.
Now, one thing that did happen this year, as well as you beat a ranked Northeastern team to start off the season. Talk about how important that win was, especially since it was your first game back at Walter Brown with fans, with the BU band there. That must have been kind of cool to have those fans experience that for the first time back at the rink.
Yeah, no, that was a big win for us. Obviously, we're a team where we didn't have any returners, so whereas Northeastern, I think, only lost one girl, so we knew they were going to be pretty stacked, and just going into that game, it's just that mentality of just going all out and um, coming together as a team, and I thought that was one of our best team games. And we ended up with a win, and that's just a learning curve that obviously if we come together, good things will happen, and that definitely um, set the tone for the rest of the season of just coming together, and hopefully we can do that again in the future.
Now, being a junior on the team, what type of leadership have you tried to bring? Are you more of a vocal leader, or are you more of a lead by example type of player?
I'd like to think as a little bit of both. I try my best on the bench to give give the best feedback, try and get the girls going a little bit if we're at a lull or something like that. And obviously, I like to make plays and display like what any kind of scoring opportunities, and hopefully that way people can pick up from there. But I would say just a little bit of both. I definitely think of myself as vocal though too, more so I guess.
Now, I kind of want to segue and talk about your off season for a little bit and how you prepared for this upcoming year. So, how was your off season? Did you do anything interesting, whether it was hockey related or non-hockey related?
Um, Obviously, I train at Institute of Performance and Fitness (IPF) in North Reading with Walter Norton Jr. and I do that every summer, so that's always a bit. We do that early in the morning, so it's more of like a routine in the summer, and then I skate a couple times. But other than that, I'm on weekends. I have a house in Gloucester, and me and my cousins will probably do some kind of form of activity, whether that's like spike ball on the beach. I love that. Or even in the spring, we'll bring spike ball to BU with the girls, and that's some kind of active stuff we like to do, or just go on walks, something to do. It kind of gets boring when there's nothing to do after school.
Oh yeah, especially because I feel like hockey is kind of a good way to kind of distract yourself from school. And when the hockey season isn't going on, it's really tough to do that sometimes. But I try my best to just, I guess, like watch other sports in the spring and play other sports. But I've never played spike ball before, so maybe that's something I should try out.
Yeah, no, it gets pretty competitive for sure, especially with the girls.
Are you the best spike ball player on BU?
I'd say I'm up there. I don't know if I'm trying to think who's the best. I'm definitely up there though, for
All
sure.
right. All right. I need to see some of those videos of you just beating your teammates on that in that game.
Fair enough.
Now, did you face any challenges this offseason? Because in Mass, at least from my perspective, it was pretty restrictive when the summer began. But as the summer went along, things started to open back up and be less restrictive. So did that change your approach at all when those things started opening back up for the summer? And did you face any similar challenge you faced the previous offseason with gyms being closed and with ice time being hard to find as well?
Yeah. So lucky for me, like I still was able to go to the gym. Still had that opportunity. I know, um, not this past summer, but last summer, um, my sister and Kaylee Donnelly and we would skate in Wellesley, and there's that period where we had to, get dressed in our cars, and that was just terrible. I hated that. Um, but now this past summer I was able to skate. There was no, I think a little. I mean, we didn't have to really wear masks or anything, so it was nice because that was that sucked. I'm sorry, that was terrible for me. Wearing masks when working out is just hard, as one can imagine. But not. Yeah, it was. I think for me, it was kind of back to normal a little bit. My summer training, it was pretty simple. I didn't really travel that much, so just kind of did my own routine.
Nice. And how'd you, I guess another adjustment, I guess, for the summer was learning how to balance both school and hockey because you were finally going to have classes in person. Has that been an adjustment this year at all, balancing both? And what's your secret to balancing both, I guess?
Yeah, no, it was a bit of a difference, from going online and then going into person because, you really, it's not like you really got to pay attention. Obviously, you got to pay attention, but it was good to just finally like get back into that groove from what I was doing freshman year, and I just kind of did the same of just planning my day out usually. I usually have some blocks free, so that's when I maybe do homework or uh, get in some food or whatever, and just kind of the whole thing with the being this college athlete is just like basically wake up, school,
Mhm.
um, train, eat, repeat. So nothing's really changed that much besides in person classes and
Well, it
online.
must be, well, it must be nice for this year because at least I don't know. Are you almost done with all your general education requirements? Because you now like feel like as an upperclassman you can focus more on your major, which is I think you take more classes you're interested in because of that.
Yeah, I know for sure. Like my freshman and sophomore year, there were some classes where kind of I wasn't excited to take, I should
Hmm.
say, just because they were just requirements for the first couple of years, and now as a new journalism broadcasting major, I'm more leaning towards taking the classes I want to take, and I'm excited for that going into this next semester. So hopefully that will be a lighter load, especially when it comes down to play hockey as well.
Yeah, what classes do you take in that for that major? That sounds pretty cool.
A lot of it's mostly journalism based core, just the requirements to be in that type of a college for communication. So, um, and they all look pretty interesting. It's a lot of news writing and stuff like that, and hopefully stuff to prepare me for questions or something like that for broadcasting, and when I hopefully get an internship like this summer or something like that. So we'll see. I'll let you know if all goes well.
Yeah, yeah. Is that what you want to do after college, like news journalism or in that field, I guess?
Yeah. Well, when I was asked what do I want to do, I figured, well, I can talk hockey a lot. So if I were, to be the next Catherine Tappan, I don't know if you remember who that is,
Oh,
but
I know who she is. She's
yeah.
awesome.
So I grew up watching her for because she was on Nesson for a while for the Bruins. So I was like, she's spot on with her words, and she's talking hockey, and I was like, all right, then I guess maybe I could do something like that. And so far I have a plan for it. So
It's
hopefully
dope.
all goes well. Yeah,
Yeah, well, that's one of my goals is to work in the NHL and be like a broadcaster. So hopefully one day I can see you there and we can talk about this podcast of how we met before we got to the
that'd be
industry. That'd be
awesome.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now, kind of transitioning back to your career for a little bit, hockey wise. So, I want to talk about the beginning of your hockey career just because something that I'm very interested in is I love talking to people who are from Massachusetts just because I'm from Massachusetts as well. And you're from Beverly. So, to talk about growing up there and how did you start playing hockey and what's the hockey scene like in Beverly? Just because being from Central Mass, I feel like the hockey scene's a little bit different here versus towns that are closer to Boston.
Well, honestly, I mean, um, so my dad kind of had me and my siblings all tried out for youth Beverly uh, hockey, and that was a good time. I was always playing boys hockey for a bit, um, and then eventually um, I was like in eighth grade. The highest I went to for Beverly hockey was I was an eighth grader, and I got called up to be in the Beverly high school girls hockey program for a year before I left for prep school, and that was fun. We made it to quarters, I believe, quarters or semis, and I think we lost to Austin Prep, and that was annoying, but it was definitely a learning experience. It was pretty cool to play in front of your town, and um, yeah, it was a good experience. And then obviously, life took off when I went to prep school, and it was a different atmosphere there, hockey wise.
Yeah, and who was your favorite player growing up? Was it someone on the Bruins? Was it a female player on the national team? Like, who did you kind of look up to the most as a kid?
Yeah. Honestly, um I don't know. Maybe you remember him, but this is why I actually wear number 16. Marco Sturm. He was on
Hmm.
the Bruins for a bit, and I always loved his speed. I love his grit while playing, and then once he retired, I looked towards Bergeron. To this day, he's still my favorite player. He's shows a lot of heart in his game and very slick, but also plays well defensively. Something I should probably do better at, but it's definitely somebody I like to look up to learn from.
Oh yeah, no, I totally remember Marco Sturm. I know the Bruins got him from the Joe Thornton trade a long time ago, but to be honest, I only remember Marco Sturm really from when he scored that OT winner at Fenway Park. That's like one of the coolest, probably the best Winter Classic ever in my opinion. But when he just slammed into the glass, that's like an iconic moment.
I like, and well, they just actually showed a recap of that. I think I was watching it the other day, of like when the Bruins won, and that was pretty cool. I didn't get to go, but my dad and my brother went, and they said it was pretty cool to see it live.
Yeah, no, I feel like the Winter Classic though is better like on TV because I don't know if you saw any of this year's Winter Classic, but it looked absolutely freezing cold, and I'm like, I would totally be miserable if I were there. So I'm glad I got to stay home in the heat.
I watched a little bit of it. We were actually at the hotel in the lobby, and I was talking to some of the parents' fathers or some of my teammates' dads, and we were watching a little bit. And they're from Minnesota, so they were
Mhm.
like, "Yeah, like it's freaking cold there." Like I couldn't imagine. But they
Yeah.
were like, "That's how you want it. You'll wait for the Winter Classic."
Oh yeah, no, but that Fenway Park one's the best. But honestly, they had one. It's I guess it's not considered a Winter Classic, but I thought when the Bruins played at Lake Tahoe last year, that was super cool. Just I
Yeah,
don't know, just because the whole like I guess scenery of it, I thought that was like really cool.
yeah.
So that's
I would see pictures from that, and that was um, you like look. I could imagine being there just because like imagine if you were playing and then you just look up and then oh wait, that there's that beautiful scenery.
yeah, I think that's one of the cool. Like obviously, it sucks not having fans at hockey games, but I guess if there was like one silver lining to take from it, that Lake Tahoe series would probably be it. Just because I think it was cool without the fans, just because you got to kind of saw the scenery of the whole, I guess, place where it was being played. But it was just kind of cool to kind of see it like kind of just like an original pond hockey. Like that's how hockey was created was because of pond hockey, I assume. So it was kind of cool to see like hockey go back to its roots in that game.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It was definitely cool, and it's plus that it was the Bruins that got to play there.
Oh
So
yeah. So have you ever met Marco Stern before? Because I don't know if you have, because I feel like a lot of those like Bruins players who are in the third and fourth lines back in the day, I feel like a lot of people had the chance to meet them.
yeah, so well, it's kind of crazy. I did meet him once. I think it was at like some kind of Dick's Sporting Goods like signing event or something like that. Or it was also like some kind of Bruins. I think I met him twice. It was some Bruins festival, um, where they had at the TD Garden. But um, I met like I think I also met him. Like I was able to participate in the mini 101. Do you remember that when
Oh yeah.
I won that twice actually, and that was I got to meet some players and stuff like that. And one of them was Marco Sturm one time, and so
Oh,
that
that's
was
super cool.
that was awesome to see
I've
him.
al- I've always wanted to do those mini one-on-ones. How do you get the opportunity to do that? Because I don't know if I don't know if you remember Oliver Wahlstrom. This was before he went to the
That was
NHL.
my year.
Oh, you saw that happen? That was
Yeah,
like one of the coolest goals ever.
I know. I was like, "There's no way I can try that," but I was I was not up to my speed yet. But yeah, I remember seeing that on the TV because the girls were in the like waiting room, so and that was crazy. Everybody was like, "Did you see that?" And I was like, "I'm not trying that." But my little brother Preston, I don't know how old he was, but he was like, "You should try that." And I said, "I don't think that's gonna work, buddy." Like,
Yeah. No, that's really cool because I feel like a lot of those like Bruins players that like they had such an integral part of winning that Stanley Cup, like Michael Ryder, Daniel Paille, like those guys, Greg Campbell, like they were. I just loved the grit that they had, and it was cool because if those players were a big reason why the Bruins won the cup. Obviously, Marchand, Bergeron, all those guys, but if they didn't have those depth pieces in the bottom six of the lineup, then they would have never won the cup. And it was just cool because I feel like a lot of the teams would want to push the Bruins around, especially Vancouver in the beginning of the Stanley Cup, but then those guys would make sure that didn't happen. And now I think that's what made that team so much fun to watch, just because Vancouver, those players on that team would really bother me, especially back in the day. But it was cool to see
Gross,
like
yeah.
especially seeing Sean Thornton and Lucci just like stick up for those teammates. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, you would really get along with my older brother, Will. I think he, like, to this day, Will, I mean, obviously that was a great time to watch, but Will, to this day, just loves to um, talk about, like, or just watch videos on the 2011 team, and it was a great time. Like, he loves uh, when Jack Edwards screamed, like, the Bruins knock out Montreal or
Oh, that's
something.
awesome.
Yeah, so we hear that a lot.
Yeah, best call ever when Dave Gosher on the radio said, "Get the duck boats ready. The Bruins win the Stanley Cup." And I was
Yeah.
watching the Vegas game recently, and he's now the play-by-play for Vegas on TV. And I was like, I miss him so much. It's so
Yeah.
weird seeing him not with the Bruins anymore. But no, I still watch the Bruins today. I'll talk about the 2020 team for all day. If, I don't care which team it is. I'll talk about it. But obviously,
Yeah.
the 2011 one has the most memories just because of winning the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, of course. No, that a lot of sayings stick from that year. So, um, so fun to watch.
Now, getting back to your career for a little bit, but before college hockey, you played for the Kent School. You also played for the Boston Junior Eagles. How did you get the opportunity to be a part of those teams? Because talking to your sister on the podcast a few months ago, she said that she played for different teams than you did.
Yeah. I first, when I left Beverly, I went to prep school, Brook School in North Andover. And that was a good experience. I feel like I needed to be at a higher level, and Kent, I transferred my sophomore year to be a new junior at Kent, and that was quite the experience. I was fortunate my senior year at Kent to win the knapsack tournament, so that was a lot of fun. Most memorable moment, I'd say, from that time. And I played at Assabet though for 10 years for club hockey, and won a couple national championships there, and so that was definitely fun. But like I said, my senior year when I was at Kent, and for a club team, I played for the Eagles, and that was kind of just like I would say my record year, just because we won the national championship and I won the knapsack for prep school, so that was probably the most memorable, and definitely made a lot of friendships from both teams.
Like, what's the process for getting on the Junior Eagles? Just trying out, and same with your prep school team, like applying and trying out, or is it like you get recruited?
So for prep school, I was recruited. You know, the great thing about these club programs, you find them somehow. I went to a camp in Concord, Mass, which happened to be the Assabet rink, and we found out about that program. Then we just joined, and 10 years later, there you go. And it's kind of the same thing with Junior Eagles. My dad knew the coach just from playing against each other, and he called me up, and I decided to go my last year. But yeah, it was good. Basically, we wanted to just go for it one more time for obviously just because Assabet wasn't where it was at. I'd say for my last year, that's why I think the Eagles were the best option.
Hmm.
Yeah, and
And
it
how
worked
did
out.
those? Oh yeah, no. And how did those teams help prepare you for college hockey with BU when you think about them today?
Yeah, no, it's definitely, I got it from both sides. Some people might say that, prep school got them to, their D1 college, or club hockey got them. I'd say both. I was able to, Kent had, um, I had a great two coaches, the Russos at Kent, and then Mike Maloney was a awesome in my college process and everything, and you know um, we would go to tournaments like Naha, which was a great exposure. And I think that was kind of what sealed the deal with BU looking at me. I had a pretty good tournament up there, and um, that was kind of it.
Yeah, and talk a little bit more about your recruiting process with Boston University. Like, how did they find you, and what made you want to go to that school versus other schools you might have looked at?
Yeah, no, well, originally, I was kind of looking at Ivies, and just because, my sister went to Brown, and Obviously, an IB education is an IB education, and but I don't think that was the best fit. Sometimes the testing can be a bit hard. Um, so we had to look elsewhere, and we got down. I eventually came down to BC versus BU. As funny as that sounds, um, BU gave me a greater deal, and I also got to spend more time and have at my BU visit. Like BU was like actually my only overnight visit, and I got to see a little bit more of everything, and you know I knew a lot of people at BC, and I think I wanted to start a new adventure at BU, and so far it's been awesome.
Yeah, and you also get to play under Coach Brian DeRocher, who I think is one of my favorite coaches to watch coach just because he's so knowledgeable in the game. What's it like playing under him? And does he still, I heard that he calls every player that he's ever coached on their birthday. He always remembers. Is that a true story as well?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, he's obviously for the girls like myself and who have summer birthdays, you wouldn't really get that, like, just because. But he's good. He's unfortunately like he's been out for a little bit just because he had a foot problem or something, but he was able to get back on the bench in Pittsburgh, and yeah, he's always knows what he's talking about. He's been um, we definitely want to win for him. So considering like who knows how long like he'll be coming or he'll be coaching in the near future. So I know that's definitely a priority for us to do it for him.
Now, something that was introduced to college hockey last year was 3-on-3 overtime. I just kind of want to ask you about it since you're an offensive player. What's it like in those overtime situations to have more space in the ice and have more offensive opportunities to score goals?
Yeah, no, it's kind of nice because sometimes you'll have those like in previous years you'll have those 5-on-5 overtimes where like nobody's gonna score. Like it's that kind of game, and now that they came out with the 3v3 and having been a part of and playing that, especially this past weekend, it's a lot of fun, but it is at the end of the game, so you might be a little bit running on fumes, especially when you're just 3v3 and you're going up and down the ice, and you got to time it right. You got to move the puck when it's time to move the puck, and hopefully there's a lot more scoring chances. So obviously I'm a big fan of that. Obviously when we're doing scoring chances, but um, it's a little bit nerve wracking, but it's definitely fun to play in.
Now, I want to kind of last question about just BU before we talk about some of your teammates you get to play with is what have you guys taken away from your BU hockey experience so far? Just because last year didn't feel like kind of a real season, just because your schedule is very inconsistent, I guess. And then this year it seems like things are finally back to normal. So I guess what have you taken away from your BU hockey experience? Just because it seems like it's been kind of a roller coaster because of the pandemic.
Yeah, it's a good question. What have I taken away? It's been quite a different experience than most, for sure. Um, I've definitely, taken away of, uh, definitely I've created a lot of friendships that are gonna last a lifetime. At the end of the day, hockey's just a game, and so it's pretty funny that Coach D just picked up some random girls, and then we ended up all being great friends. So I think the friendships I made are gonna last a long time.
And obviously for this season with the hockey's playoffs kind of looming, this year they finally made it official that every team will make the playoffs and it'll be one game playoffs. What's your thoughts on that? And I guess how are you going to use that game against Providence just because it was kind of a similar fashion of how the playoffs will look for this year, for this year's playoffs? And what do you think your team has to do to win a hockey's playoff game and go deep in the tournament for that tournament?
Right. Yeah. No. Well, like I said earlier, the fact that it's one and done kind of opportunity we have to be consistent in our effort, and hopefully that will contribute to our success. There's a I'd say there's no anything can happen in the playoffs. I've seen it all at all levels, so um, definitely can't take anything for granted for whoever we play.
So I want to ask you about some of the teammates you've gotten to play with over your career. The first one is Jessie Confer, and the reason why I mention her is just because she was announced that she made the U.S. Olympic roster. What was it like to play with her in college for the time you guys spent together, and what's she like as a teammate, both on and off the ice? And I guess what was your reaction as well when you found out she was going to China for the Olympics?
Yeah, no, I'm very happy that she's worked so hard to enter in that spot for sure, and playing with her, it was definitely an experience because she, as somebody who's as fast as her, it's definitely like I said earlier with Boat and Fulham that it's it's definitely something that I like to work on my speed. So having somebody there like her to keep me going and always having me on my toes or stuff like that was good to play with. But off the ice, I she's kind of sometimes sarcastic and funny, but I'm kind of the same way. So I think we've always gone along off the ice and, so far, and it's just I wish her the best in China. So we'll be watching her.
Oh yeah, no, and rooting for her too because obviously we want Team USA to win. So.
I do.
Mhm. Now, next teammate I want to ask you about is Sammy Davis. What was she like as a teammate, both on and off the ice? Because I feel like she doesn't get enough recognition for how much she meant for that BU team. I think at times, because I think she did a lot for BU and helped the program to where it is today.
Yeah, no, she had Sammy, like it's funny because I after she graduated, we still would work out together sometimes, and she still was kind of played that leadership role of, encouraging me, and she was always off the ice, always able to. I was able to go to her, for some advice and um, just ask her questions about whether it be like on the ice or even off the ice or academically wise. So yeah, no, Sammy, I'm sure I'll see her again soon in the gym. And we'll always we have that friendship where we can just catch up and it'll be fine. And I look forward to it.
Now, the last person I want to ask you about is your older sister, Abby. When I asked her about you on the podcast when we had her on, she had a lot of nice things to say about you. And I kind of want to
Really?
ask you the
Oh,
same.
okay.
I just kind of want to ask you the same thing. What's it like growing up with a sibling who also plays hockey? And from the younger sibling perspective, what have you guys learned from her from your time playing together or just working out together in the summer? And I'm assuming you miss watching her play too, since she's in playing college hockey right now.
Right. Yeah, no, it was, I mean, it was nice to have somebody go first before me just to experience girls prep school hockey, Division 1 hockey, and I was able to go to her games and see what it was like. And obviously when it wasn't in season, we were together 24/7, going to summer skates or Walters like at 4 a.m. So it was a lot of bonding experience. She definitely is a workhorse. I'd say she has a better work ethic than I do, and it was great to follow her. So um, it was great. Like I said, it wasn't just her though. It was my two brothers. That we'd all come together and play hockey. So it was nice to have that family aspect.
She told me that you guys are very competitive. Is that true? And what kind of competitiveness do you guys do, like during a season when she played, but or else now? Like, what do you guys do to guys kind of have that competitive edge?
Well, now that she's like out of or she's done with hockey, it's kind of hard because she's not really going to like the hard training I'm doing right now. And but back when she was playing, we'd always especially running. Running was not our favorite, but I know we would try and compete big time for times and stuff like that, or just in general. As somebody who I'd say has I usually use my hands more, whereas she's more of a powerful defenseman. We both played like different positions, so it was hard to really compete or compare. But I guess if we were to compete, it would be maybe some one-on-ones in the backyard rink when it was up. So that was always fun. But it was a shame that she it wasn't able to get her last year in. So I do maybe wish that if she did get a chance to play on the Pride, she would have done it. But with her work that she's doing now, it could have been it was just time to hang him up at that point. But I know when she comes to the games, I think she misses it. So
Hmm.
hopefully I can give her that same satisfaction if I score a goal or two for her.
Oh yeah. No, she was telling me about like what she's up to now, and like it seems very tough for me to kind of comprehend. That's a lot of hard work, and you have to be really smart to be the type of lawyer she's doing now.
Yeah, yeah. She's a little different than me. I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm that much in the books like she is, but um, she's doing. She's really getting her life together, and she's actually just moving into an apartment close to Com Ave, so it's like we're neighbors again. So it'll be fun. I'll probably see her, and she'll probably come to some of my games, and it'll be like nothing happened. So it'll be fun.
Awesome. Well, I think that's kind of a good way to kind of segue to the non-hockey segment of the podcast where I ask you some non-hockey questions just to get to know you a little bit more off the ice. My first question is, what is the most interesting thing you have seen or read this week?
So, not gonna lie, I'm not the biggest book girl, but I would say the most interesting, since obviously there's no school, and I'd say maybe me and my roommate Haley and Jesse DeVito, we decided to watch the whole entire Potter series. So that was very entertaining, and we got through it in like a couple days, which is insane because they're all 2-hour movies. So
Yeah. I've never read or seen a Harry Potter movie in my life, so I can't comment on
really,
it. Hmm.
well, did Jesse or Haley, so I was like, we got to do it, and they can't shut up about it. So
I saw a funny tweet where it's like, isn't it funny how Voldemort is literally beefing with a 12-year-old? And it's thinking about it, it's kind of true. So, no,
it is.
that's definitely, my sister's really into it. I guess, I don't know. I don't really watch too many movies, so I can't, I guess it's going to be kind of harder for me to get into it.
Yeah, no, it I mean, it took me a little bit, but at the when I just kind of I had nothing to do, so
Hmm.
worked out, and I ended up really liking it. So
That's good. That's good. Yeah, I think for me the most interesting thing that I saw was Antonio Brown just leaving in the middle of the game, like kind of retiring. I thought that was
oh,
pretty
yeah,
interesting. But I
I
thought,
totally yeah.
but I kind of feel bad for him honestly because I feel like he's probably dealing with something that people don't know about, and so I hope he finds the help that he needs. But I thought that was pretty interesting to see, to say the least.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah, that was I just like saw that tweet like yesterday or whatever was it? Yeah, and I was great. You think positively. I couldn't believe that though. What he
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, no, just like he threw the shirt off, like because I was not watching the Patriots game yesterday because it was a complete blowout. I was like,
Yeah.
there's no reason they're gonna win this game. Like, I don't need to see them beat up the Jaguars. It means
Yeah.
nothing to me. But I saw that the Bucks and Jets were playing like on the other channel, so I was like, I'll watch a little bit of this, see what Tom does. And then like I was just went to get some food, and then when I got back to the TV, they're like, Antonio Brown leaves in the middle of the game, and you like see what happens. Like, what is going on? Like, this makes no sense.
I don't know. That's I don't see yeah, it's no comment, I guess.
Yeah. Something that I don't think you'll ever see, ever, just someone just literally leave in the middle of the game. But,
Felt like a movie, not gonna lie, if I
oh,
saw
yeah.
that.
But Tom managed to win the game like he always does. That was a pretty entertaining game to watch.
Always.
Now, next non-hockey question is, what music do you like to listen to?
I'm a big country girl. I love, it's mostly country, but I play the music in the locker room, so obviously country doesn't pump up a lot. It doesn't pump me up, but when it obviously doesn't pump a lot of people up, so I definitely switch to like pop and stuff like that. Just what comes on, what's popular.
Yeah.
But if I'm alone, I love country. I love Morgan Wallen a lot, and that's kind of my go-to.
Yeah, no, country's a good summertime music because I guess going to baseball games, like a lot of the players play country because that kind of like gets them in their baseball feel, I guess. But when you go to hockey, it's like different type of music. So I think it
Yeah,
depends on the sport too.
but yeah, possibly. I know for a fact that I cannot listen. I have to listen to some kind of Drake or something when I
Mhm.
walk in the rink.
Now, since you do make the warm-up mix, I guess what goes into it, I'm curious, like, how do you make it? And is there any chance to listen to the BU women's hockey warm-up mix? Because I try to find pretty much every D1 college team's warm-up mix on SoundCloud. So if there's any way to access that, feel free to let me know.
Yeah, I will. I don't know. I just kind of made it on guitar, whatever it's called. Um, yeah, and I sent out a text like in the towards the end of the summer, and I'm like, hey, if anybody wants or needs a song in the warm up, let me know. And I just kind of work with it. I listen to all songs, and I kind of just I pick what parts of the song will work and what will help with transitioning, what sounds good, and um, it's about like a 15-minute warm up, really. So I got to time it right and hopefully satisfy everybody. A lot of people liked it, the one I made this year. So
That's good.
um, if I figure out, like, I don't know what it is. It's hard to figure out SoundCloud, but um, for me, I can figure that out. But I'll let you know if I put it up there. People say I should, but
Or just send it to me. I can just listen to it on my own. No one else needs to
yeah,
listen
if you
to
want, yeah, sure, I'll do that too. I can do that.
it. So, but no, that's I love the warm-up mixes. What'd you pick for the intro song? Because I think that's the most important part of every warm-up because you need a good song to enter the ice on.
Yeah, it's the very beginning of like Dior by Pop Smoke. It's just like the beginning, but it goes right into shipping up to the beginning of shipping up to Boston.
Oh
And
wow.
that's like, yeah, it may not sound like it could work, but it works when if you listen to it. So I think you'll like it. It's definitely, the girls love that. It's always been a um it was in, I actually took that from our freshman year, so I have to cite my sources. So Bree Scarpacey, I believe, made that warm up in the beginning. So I was able to take the shipping up to Boston part and put it in from her warm up. So yeah, and it sounds good.
Yeah, I like I said, I love the warm-up mix. I think it hypes me up. What's the best warm-up mix besides the BU one that you've listened to so far this year? I went to the Holy Cross BU game. I thought they had a good warm-up mix, so I'll give them a shout out.
Yeah, yeah. No, honestly, the one we heard, I don't know whose it was, but the one we had from the first game of Pittsburgh was very good. A lot of throwbacks and like In Too Deep remix, which was insane.
Hmm.
But for in terms of like Hockey East, I liked UNH's a lot. There was some good songs in there that actually put in some of mine, which is funny. But yeah, UNH.
Do you edit the mix like in the middle of the year? Like, do you change it up, or do you kind of keep it the same throughout the rest of the season?
I kind of keep it the same. If there was like some complaints or something like that, like of course I'd maybe this would be the time, now that there's no school and I
Yeah.
could do something for fun. But usually it's a lot of people are satisfied with it, and yeah, I think, especially not this year, I think we're gonna keep it the way it is.
Now, I kind of want to ask you about some of your teammates. The first question is, who is the funniest on the team? Every BU women's player asks, they always say you. So I don't know who else would be funnier than you.
That is hilarious. I don't, I mean, I think of myself as a goofy kid, but um I think Haley's pretty funny. She's my roommate.
Hmm.
She tends to make me laugh. There's a bunch of them. Nadia Mativi, like she's the Italian one on our team, and she kills me a lot. Um, a bunch of them. Emma Withrich is really funny. Um, yeah, no, there's like a number of people, but I think, I mean, I'd like to think of myself as pretty funny too. So that's
Yeah.
nice of them to mention that I was the one that they thought of.
I totally can see Haley Blinkhorn being very funny. Yet she doesn't want to admit it.
Oh yeah, she's pretty sarcastic, that one. Like
Yeah.
she for example, like will um usually we're not on the same colors in practice. So usually it's just red and white, and um one thing, I think everybody knows this, but like one thing I hate most is losing a mini game, and I tend to express my anger sometimes. And I think and Haley knows it too, but she's up in my face if I lose and she wins. So she's a little smart like that, but always funny when it's when we're all joking around.
Now, who is the quietest on the team?
Ooh, that's a good one. I'd say even though she's been a bit more vocal this year, McKenna Parker, senior, I've always had a great relationship with her. I like to, because she's a bit quiet, I like to joke around with her, but she's definitely become a lot more vocal this year, despite whatever. But she I would think is to be the most quiet.
Now, if you had to pick any teammate to cook a meal for you, which teammate would you pick? Like, who's the best cook on the team?
That's a great question. Um, Grace Parker,
Mm-hmm.
because she actually has this Instagram account. I don't know if I'm supposed to be saying this, but she has this Instagram account where she cooks foods and she posts them, and they all look pretty good. And her and Nadia, they're roommates, so they definitely cook together and stuff like that. And so when I see what they come up with on when they post on Instagram, it looks pretty good. So now that we got time off, hopefully I can ask them to whip me up some good food.
Awesome. And then last question about some of your teammates. You obviously have the best style on the team, but besides yourself, who has the best style on the team? I feel like for BU, there's a lot of candidates.
Wow, you're nice to say that. I would not consider myself to be in that category, but um, it's actually her birthday today. And Lacey Martin, she's definitely got some good style. So does I'd say Claire, Haley. Um, yeah, no, but I'd say Lacey wins in that category. She always has like really cool sneakers. Oh, geez, I dropped my hat. Sorry. And she has really cool sweatshirts. She has like a talentless sweatshirt that I really liked.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully I can steal one day. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
That's cool.
I'd say Lacey.
Now, what is your biggest pet peeve? For me, it's traffic, and you can attest to this because I don't know why in Massachusetts the past few months the traffic has been awful, and no one knows how to drive anymore, especially on Com Ave. I just want to put that out there as well. So that's my biggest pet peeve. But what's yours?
I could agree with you big time. Yeah, I get some kind of road rage sometimes. Probably get it from my dad, but that's definitely big. Honestly, a lot of my teammates know this, but I've kind of grown out of it, but it still kind of ticks me off a little bit when somebody like burps in my like vicinity. I don't like hearing like, I don't know what it is. I know it's a natural bodily function, but I can't stand when somebody's just like there and just like doesn't even try to hold it in a little bit or like hold. I just
Yeah.
because they know I yell at them.
Uh, I'm yeah, no, I don't know how to add to that, to be honest with you. I've never seen someone like burp like in front of my face, so or like do you mean like in the same like kind of room?
Not so much in the same like. I understand like yeah, it happens, but if somebody's like right next to me,
Oh yeah.
like it does not in my face, but it's still at least right next to me, like, and yeah,
So
not
you
my.
know your teammates probably do that on purpose just to get a
That.
reaction.
Yeah.
No, last non-hockey question. If there was a movie made about your life, who would you want to play yourself?
Yeah, I thought about this one. I think Jennifer Lawrence, even though she's in some pretty serious roles, in the movies she plays, off screen, she's actually hilarious, and I think we have the same kind of like sar- sarcastic humor. If that
Mhm.
makes sense. And she's just like silly and real. Like I like her a lot. I find her very fun to watch.
I think your sister said the same answer, if I'm not
Are you
mistaken.
kidding me?
I feel like she
That's
did. She was
that's
either
weird.
it was either Jennifer Aniston or Lawrence, but I'm not 100% sure on that. So I have to watch that and see if I'm correct on that. But who would play your sister then? Because I feel like you would know her better than anyone else.
Um, my sister. Let's see. I don't. That's a good question. We're just too different. Like she's very put together. I feel like honestly, now that you just said it, Jennifer Aniston would be a good, like I feel like Jen's like really real, like
Mhm.
nice, sweet, and that's like kind of the same stuff with Abby and yeah, maybe Jenna Aniston.
Yeah.
For,
Yeah.
I can't
No.
even think about like I don't know why I'm blanking so much. There's like a ton of people I feel because Abby can be like funny but also serious and like
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Well, at least for me, like I'll pick someone that doesn't I don't really care if they look like me. It's like if they're just a good actor, or if it would be cool like if that person played me. And like I would be cool if Leonardo DiCaprio played me in a movie, just so I can say that he played me in a movie, even though we look nothing alike. But I
Right.
would probably choose like Andrew Garfield. I think he's a great actor, and I feel like I don't know, he could somewhat look like me and dress like me. So that's why that he would be cool person to play me in a movie.
We actually, that's funny you say that. We just actually, something to do in Pittsburgh. We went to go see the new Spider-Man movie.
Oh yeah.
So, and that was pretty cool. I liked that a lot. And I'm not that, I don't really watch Marvel movies that
Mhm.
much. So I was kind of lost sometimes, but it was still like really, really cool to watch and have like, I don't know if you've seen it. I don't want to
Oh, I've
spoil
seen it
anything.
before.
Okay, good.
I
But to
just don't
see
want
all the,
people listening to this feel upset if it gets spoiled. So
I know, well, sorry.
it's fine. It's fine. So, but no, no, that he was great in that movie. So, and I feel like he would play me well because he would know like how to, I don't know, play me because I'm not like a emotional person. I guess is the right word. Like I don't have like a moment where I like freak out on anyone, but I
Yeah.
don't know. I feel like he would play me well enough to kind of get my mannerisms down.
Yeah. That sounds about right.
Now back to some hockey questions. Now, first one is what should be done to help grow women's hockey in your opinion?
Yeah, honestly, I think the more male advocates we have, and definitely like it'd be awesome for the NHL players or something like that. But I think what's definitely like something we can definitely have happen soon, at least, is male college athletes. That would help a lot, and obviously, unfortunately, sometimes they're able to give off more like exposure. So when their words would help a lot in creating more exposure for us girls. So
Yeah,
hopefully
that.
that can be changed soon. But
Mhm.
it's obviously been a process and it's going to continue to be a process. But I think that's definitely a place to start.
Yeah, one thing I'm surprised most colleges don't do is have their men's and women's teams scrimmage before the season. I think that'd be a cool way to kind of get people to like from both fan bases to kind of get exposed to you, and then for your fans to be exposed to the men's team. I think that'd be cool. I don't know if BU does it, but I wish more schools did. I think
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
I mean we don't do we I haven't been we do scrimmage sometimes the club men's team,
Yeah,
um, and that's always like a pretty fun game. We actually do pretty well in it, but I think if we played our men's team just boys versus girls, I think unfortunately I don't think we'd win, but it'd still be really fun and obviously they would be smart, they wouldn't hit us, but like it would still be really fun to just play at such a high level and we're friends with some of the guys and so it'll be
hmm,
I think it'd be pretty cool. Maybe we can do like a mix or
yeah.
something.
That's what I was thinking. Like split the teams, like have half the men's
Oh,
team
okay.
and half the
Yeah.
women's team
Oh, I'm
play
sorry.
each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry
I
about
thought
that.
you meant like boys versus girls, and I was like, well, we would kind of get our ass handed
No,
to it.
like I think that it would still be a competitive game if that, but I just think it'd be kind of cool to have like split the teams up. I don't know. That's just I know that UConn basketball does that before their season starts, so I kind of thought it'd be cool if hockey did
That
that as
is
well.
cool. I didn't know that.
So no, that I think that'd be awesome, and I think that would be a very competitive game too, which would be fun to watch as a fan as well.
So
Now,
yeah, I would watch that.
now speaking of, I guess checking, should body checking be allowed in women's hockey? And if you do, I guess like why do you think it should be? If you do think it should be allowed?
I think it should be yes. I think there's a time and place where you need to check in order to remove somebody from the puck or whatever. Obviously, like with the girls' game, there is hitting, but it's physical. But at the end of the day, you can't do an open ice hit. But like obviously, as a bigger girl and somebody like who likes to play rough and stuff like that, and I think it'd be beneficial. But obviously, like I don't see that changing anytime soon. So, um, like I said, like the girls' game can be physical, so I definitely like to try and keep it that way rather than honestly, if we could have checking, then teach the girls how to check. It's simple. In my opinion, it's simple as that. Just teach us, and
Yeah.
then people won't get hurt.
What's the biggest check you've ever thrown in a college hockey game? I feel like you've played college hockey for 3 years now. There's got to be a time where you might have accidentally just like bodied someone.
Um, I think it was against Northeastern this year. I kind of clipped a girl. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not gonna say her name, but
Mhm.
and yeah, no, I don't. I was a bit unfair on my part just because I don't think she saw it coming. That she kind of had her eyes on the puck, and I just kind of went shoulder to shoulder with her, and mm, I don't know, it just kind of happened. But
Yeah.
I didn't get called, which was nice. But
Hmm.
uh, yeah, no, it was fine. I don't really look to do the big hits, but I'll always just try and like knock people off the puck in
Oh
the
yeah.
corner. Just basically outmuscle people. That's what I like to do.
Hmm. Now, that last question is, what advice would you give a younger player who's trying to pursue a D1 college hockey career? Like any advice for anyone who's listening, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's definitely like never obviously lose your love for the game. You always, you're gonna be faced with adversity a lot, whether you don't get to pick where you want to go to college. Sometimes life throws a lot of challenges in the way, but definitely you got to definitely make a pros and cons list of the schools. And that's what I did. Um, and you just kind of narrow it down from there. And for me, when I was looking around schools, it just felt right when I walked out into Wally B. It just felt I don't know what it is. It's just a feeling. So hopefully, um, keep her keep your options open, but definitely, like keep making connections with the coaches and stuff like that. It's a stressful process, but at the end of the day, it's worth it when you definitely find your home.
Well, I think that's a good way to end things off. But do you have any shout outs you'd like to give to any of your family members, teammates, friends, anyone who might be listening? I know we've mentioned some people throughout this interview, but if you want to shout them out again or mention some other people you might have missed out on, feel free to do that.
Yeah, no, I'll shout some people out. Definitely my family, mom, dad, Will, Abby, and Preston. Yeah, my roommate Haley, she'd kill me if I didn't. Um, Jessie DeVito, she's in the other room right now.
Hmm.
Um, I'd love to shout out all my team members, but I could go forever. And this girl shouted me out, so I feel like I should shout her back. Lindsay Featherstone of
Hmm.
Bemidji. Saw her this summer, and yeah, no, um, I think that's it. Yeah.
Well, well, shout out to you, Julia, for coming on. I really appreciate it. But thank you so much for coming on. Thank you so much for your time. It means a lot to myself. I wish you nothing but the best for the rest of the season. I know you're going to do great, but take care and stay safe. And yeah, good luck for the rest of the season.
Thanks, Matt. I really appreciate the time.